And so it's like, I don't know, there's that blood in me, Shiva. There's that blood. And
I think it's called alcoholism.
no potatoes and alcohol. Let's go.
And some noise was still getting picked up, and it wasn't like a hush like AC noise. It was very like
It was picking up towards the max level there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like very volatile, and I was as if someone was talking. And then Sean and I got silent, and it was still going. What is up, guys? I'm Shiva.
I'm Sean.
And welcome to the Just Think
series where Shiva and I just ask each other questions, kind of bounce off of each other, and just see where it takes us. Hope you guys enjoy. Let's get into it.
Let's go. Alright guys, so last week when Sean and I were recording an episode, we were having some, mic technical difficulties as, a beginner podcaster would. And we were trying to figure out, so we were adding a mic to the software, and it was picking up someone's mic. And I was like, okay, is that my mic? And I was like, no, it's not my mic. Sean, is it your mic? And we tried muting it. We tried muting both. And some noise was still getting picked up, and it wasn't like a hush like AC noise. It was very like
it was picking up towards the max level there. Yeah,
it was like very volatile, and I was as if someone was talking. And then Sean and I got silent, and it was still going.
Yeah.
And then Sean and I were like, "Yo, whose mic is that? That is Ghost. That is not us.
Nope.
That is not us." And we freaked out, so we deleted it.
We just said, not today. Nope.
Not today. We deleted it, and then I'm trying to add a new track. I'm trying to add a new mic, and Sean freaks out and he goes, "Dude, I just saw in the corner of your room, the blanket just moved." And I was like, "Nah, Sean, you're just messing around with me. You're just trying to freak me out at this point." But Sean's adamant. He saw something.
I 100%. So I was looking towards like the blanket that was on this like bed, right? And I swear, even if it was like not even just the corner of my eye, it was just like a little bit actually into normal vision, and I saw a depression happen, like literally it went down in my eyesight, like somebody had just sat on the bed, like they were pissed that we just like deleted the mic, like they were like humph, and they just sat down. I promise.
You think it was an AC or something? You think the AC just like moved the blanket?
Because the AC would have probably moved across the blanket in some, but this was like almost like a butt shaped circle that just
it was like poofed out, and then it like de-poofed.
Yeah, it just de-poofed on its own in like a perfect like somebody's sitting here thing. I promise you, dude.
That's so weird. And then we proceeded on talking about coffee after that.
Yes,
but
we did.
That kind of gets me into what we could talk about today, right? What do you think about ghosts?
I 100% believe in ghosts, dude. I believe
after what happened, or even before that?
No, even before that. I mean, don't get me that's reassuring for me, the whole like incident that we were just talking about. But no,
reassuring.
I'm saying, dude, ghosts are 100% real. I don't know what they are, who they are, if they're like something separate, but I 100% believe in ghosts. I also have another like incident. So like when I was a kid, right, in our old house that like I spent, I guess, most of my like childhood in. Not like, I mean, we moved a lot, but like I spent most of my childhood in this house. I was alone in the kitchen, fairly young, and I was just, getting like water or food or whatever I was doing. And we had next to the fridge was like a doorway that went into the dining room. So you could get to the dining room from two places. You could open the front door and immediately go to your right, or you could go through the kitchen and come from like behind it. Well, I was in the kitchen and I turned to like look into the dining room because, I was just like, whatever, just vibing, looking around. And I shit you not, I saw a tall, lanky, like ghost woman that was like
Slender Man.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, well, no, like
Slender
had
woman?
a face and everything, like a really long, like white robe, and was looking like from underneath the top of the doorway, right? Like she was that tall that she was like creeping from the side, but also like bending down from the top. And like, because I was just like quickly looking around, I saw it and then like looked away, not even registering what it was. And I was like, wait. And I literally, like, I looked back, of course, nothing was there. And I was just like, I know for a fact that for like a split second I laid my eyes and that's exactly what I saw. Because it's a dark room. There's no like, you know, refracting light. It wasn't, you know, there's no sun outside. It was literally dark, pitch black. And the only light on was the one in the kitchen. And I literally turned and saw that pretty vividly. So dude, I'm just saying, ghosts.
That's so interesting, right? Because I'm like, well, maybe it's just your mind playing tricks on you, but you hear those stories with like photos.
Mm-hmm.
And that can't be like a mind playing tricks on you because that's a captured image.
Yeah.
And it could be light refraction, but some of it... Okay, let me give you a story, right? So my friend, he showed me this picture. His dad was working at some soup kitchen in Iran. And they took a picture. It was black and white. You know, this is an old picture.
Yeah.
It was black and white. They took a picture of them working in the soup kitchen and people are sitting at the table just eating. But if you look far at the window, like the right corner window, there was this like vague outline of a man just standing there looking. But it's not like definitive. It wasn't defined enough to be like, okay, that's an actual person looking through. It was like a hazy outline with like, you could see the eyes, you could see the head, you could see the body, but it was like a little hazy. Isn't that so creepy?
And it was just in like just a natural photo that they were taking.
Yeah, and I saw it.
Dude.
And I was like, what? What is, like, I don't know how to explain that. And like us, you know, I've had a lot of science classes, and you being a science major and all,
yeah.
we often try to be reductionists, and we're like, oh, you know, it's probably just light refraction, your brain playing tricks on you.
Exactly.
But I don't know. I don't know if I believe in ghosts. I just think it's really creepy, though.
I'm creeped out by it. But I'm creeped out by it in the sense that, like, when I can't rationalize it via science, and at this point I'm just like, okay, well, that's a ghost. And then it's the unknown, you know? You're like, okay, here's a ghost. Does it want me? Like, or is it just vibing, you know? Like, is it like, yo, give me that ass? Or is it like, hey, man, what you doing? Are you like, I'm curious, you know? Like what, you know?
That's the eternal question. What do ghosts want?
Yeah, and it's just something you can't really prove because, one, there's still so much, like, skepticism surrounding it that even if you were to have something that was, like, you know, 20 years from now proven as real, at the time, it's like, you know, say currently, people will be like, that's bullcrap. Like, you know, whatever. Like, I'm not going to believe in it, so why would I ever...
Like, with your story, I'm just wondering, like, what's the reason we only see them for a split second? Do they want us to see them for a split second? Is that just... Do ghosts just walk around and we naturally don't see them, but then, like, something happens in nature and for a split second we see them? Or do they, do they let us see them? I don't know.
That's kind of like that's a very interesting take on, like, a power dynamic. Like, are they the ones that can control whenever we see them, like, 100%? Or, like, what you're saying, is there some sort of force of nature, like, you know, like the veil, where, like, at some spots it gets thin randomly and it kind of falls through? Or do we have 100% of the power, right? Like, is it like our brain subconsciously out of our control just, like, chooses when or when not to, like, perceive something like that, right? Because the brain, you know, does a lot of things that we can't understand. Did you ever see that video of, like, the two guys? I actually think they're doing a podcast, and they talk about that green color that Disneyland does.
Yeah, where it detracts people from wanting to go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They paint, like, doors or lampposts the specific shade of green because our brain just chooses not to really focus on that shade for some reason. And of course, I'm you know, I'm sure there's a lot more into it, but, like, that's crazy that, like, they do something like that. And so is it like maybe our brains, like, subconsciously control maybe some sort of, like, spectrum? Like, you know, and maybe like some sort of visible spectrum that we can or can't see, or I don't know. Like, dude, there's so many possibilities here.
I mean, I know for a fact a lot of people do often believe in ghosts, and I remember being 14 in India, right? And I was at this marriage. It was a marriage ceremony. And in India, marriage ceremonies last several days.
Yeah.
And it can often get boring as a kid when you're just wandering around doing whatever. And I was talking to one of the workers there, and it was at night, and he points at this forest right next to us. And he's like, that's haunted. That place is haunted.
A kid was saying this to you?
No, one of the workers.
I was saying this to you as a kid.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I look at it, and it's like that typical
dark ass.
Like, yeah, it's that typical forests everywhere, like forests on both sides, pathway into abyss of darkness. Like, there was no street lights, it was nothing. And he's like, oh, I was like, I'm not scared of ghosts. And he's like, all right, then go walk there. And I was like, okay, I will. And he literally grabbed my hand. He's like, don't do it. Like, he literally was freaked out. Like, he was like, that place is haunted. Do not walk there.
Dude.
And I didn't. I ended up not going.
Good.
I ended up not going, but I don't know. It's kind of interesting to think about.
Wait, okay, well, so what do you like for sure one way or the other believe in ghosts?
I don't know, man. I just don't know, because I want to say like, yeah, because of what I've seen and heard, right? I've even heard stories where like there would be these parents and the kid would die, and then they would have another kid, and then this kid was like playing in the streets, and it was like, oh, I see her, and then they were like, who do you see? And then the kid was like, oh, I see Charlie, and they're like, what? And he's like, yeah, Charlie was here playing like last year, and I can like, I'm hanging out with her right now. And then the parents freaked out because they were like, we never told you about the kid before you.
Yeah.
Like, so then it's like, I don't know. I really don't know. It's kind of creepy a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially when you think about children. And often like horror movies and stuff and like ghost movies use children, or like Annabelle uses a doll.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's like this innocence in children and they can see more than adults can, and then you just kind of slowly forget it, or it just like disappears.
Kind of like Fairly Odd Parents. Like you get the Fairly Odd Parents when you're a kid, but when you grow up, you forget that you ever had that.
Except that one's so much more dope.
Yeah. Honestly,
this one's creepy.
But like, no, I think you're right, because like that's how I've always viewed it. Right? That's like when like the death of a child is so like traumatizing, not only for like the parents, but the people around, because there's an innocence there. You know how like when you're watching a movie and the dog dies and you're like on the verge of tears, but then some person dies and you're like, whatever. It's because there's an innocence associated with the dog. The dog only like loves their owner. Like they only have this pure form of like, this person feeds, clothes me, and we perceive that as like them loving us and being thankful. And so there's this innocence there where they've never done anything to ever deserve that. And it's the same thing with kids, right? Like, I mean, the kids are obviously different, but like there's this innocence there where they just can't perceive all the crazy horribleness of the world yet, and so they're just innocent and just like there's like this pure joy that they have, that maybe there's something where it's because they're so pure in how they view the world that they could theoretically see something that we can't see, because we're all bogged down with the mess of Earth and the mess of like countries and being a citizen or whatever, the mess of life. But these kids are so oblivious to all of that they have, I don't know, you could even argue that they have like more resources available biologically to maybe perceive something like that. And then as you get older, you just grow out of it. I don't know. There's so many ways to like view that. And then again with the doll, like even it might even just be like the doll's associated with kids. So maybe that's maybe
and like children's songs, like Ring Around the Rosies and stuff like you know that song. Yeah, it's apparently it's based off of the Black Plague.
Yeah, and they would like Rosie was like they would like keep.
They would keep a rose in their pocket because so many people were dying that it smelled bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pocket full of posies.
Yep.
Yeah,
and then they were like, it was like the piles that they would burn of the people, and there was just stacked bodies.
Like ashes. We all fall down. You're like, what the?
All of us kids are in kindergarten, like ashes. We all fall down, and then you get to be like 16, and you like just see like a random article, and you're like, wait. That's messed up. You're like, wait, what? Because the adults have to know, cute? Right? Like,
yeah.
What is that even
and they're like,
about?
oh, that's cute. Let them keep thinking what they think.
Dude, I mean, some of that stuff, man. And what if it's like the same with, I don't know, could it be the same with ghosts? Where maybe there's like people out there. You ever see The Conjuring?
Maybe. I know I've seen like Insidious and stuff.
Well, that same the actor, the husband. So in Conjuring, it's the couple, and it's the wife who's like a medium, and then the husband is just like really like, I don't know, I think he's just like into it and really good at it or whatever. But it's based off of a true story, like a documented story, like a cases. And this family basically would get like called or paid or like had like literally connections with like the Catholic Church because they were able to like basically connect with this other world or whatever. And essentially,
I have seen that.
and essentially like, possession and things like that. There's some things that like actual people have seen and dealt with and even documented that are like there's no way to explain this using in a physical world. There has to be something else that, like, it can't just be like the floor creaked in a certain way and made the word murder. You like, over like the mic. It would have to be something literally would have to voice that, and it wasn't anybody in the room because it's just us two, and the only way we heard it was when we listened to the mic afterwards.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's crazy stuff like that that's like, even adults are having interactions with it. And then, some kids like, yo, I just got done playing with, like, with a Charlie or whatever you were saying. It's just like, excuse me? Like,
yeah, right. So you see in religions, right, oftentimes the Day of the Dead and things like that.
Yeah.
And you see these festivals, and I know there's a festival similar to that in China, I believe. Anyways, fact check me on that.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's these festivals, and the way they do it, the Day of the Dead, right? And a lot of them are similar in the sense where they say things like the lost soul becomes a ghost.
Yeah.
It doesn't find its way to heaven, or it doesn't find its way to enlightenment or peace or whatever, and it becomes a ghost. And it makes me wonder, like, if people have been thinking this for so long, like, what got that started? It had to have been some events that can't be explained. And events that can't be explained start to be theorized, right? Like, what happens after death? What are ghosts? And I don't know.
Because you also get into, like, the unfinished business thing,
Yeah.
And not only is it a lost soul, but it's somebody who wasn't able to move on because of something here on Earth.
Yeah, and if ghosts are real, then how does that play into the idea of death? So what really does happen after we die?
Yeah, if ghosts are real, you pretty much, if you were somehow able to actually prove that a ghost is real, you've essentially also proved there's a soul.
Something happens after death. Yeah.
There's a soul that basically, because I can look at your body, I can dig you up, exhume your body, still see you. And if I could somehow prove that, like, you're also standing next to me as a ghost, I've proved that there's some sort of element that's not physical, which we would probably immediately label as like a soul.
Well, do you think ghosts still have the same personality as they did when they were living? Like, or do you think they're more like wandering zombie type people where they're not very, active in what they do?
I think it's all over the place. I think somebody who is, they could be like really kind on Earth and then died some horrible, like, horrific death. And then you get people who are like, oh, I'm haunted by this ghost. Well, that person could have been a joy in real life, and then they died in such a horrible, twisted way that they didn't deserve, that they then, as a ghost, could feel, like, angered by, to the point where they become, like, like a poltergeist. And they're, like, just pure essence of rage floating
like
around,
power moves,
doing stuff. Like, what?
Like the power move.
What is that?
Like you were saying, like, oh, like, when ghosts want us, like, when we want them to see them, it'd be like a power move. It'd be like that. It'd be like they just torment people as a power move.
And so, I don't know. I think it could be anything. You could have, somebody who was nice that died, like, naturally and, like, took pity on, like, let's say that was, like, a really old grandma and they were raising their grandchild because, like, the mom had passed or something, or the father had passed. And so, let's say, like, the grandma just dies naturally of old age, but still wants to look after that kid. Theoretically, you could have a ghost that would, like, jingle your keys or knock them off the table because you couldn't find them and you were late. You could have, like, something like that. I don't know. I feel like, answering your question, it could be, like, anything. Like, it could be...
Yeah, like, what warrants that? Is it a gruesome death? Is it being a bad person? If it's being a bad person, what does that mean? Is there karma? Is, like, what warrants becoming a ghost if ghosts are real?
And think of, like, if any sort of outside force, like, not to, like, steer towards aliens, but something else, either a new invention or new form of science, was able to, again, at some point, somehow, prove even slightly that ghosts are real. I mean, you open up, like, Pandora's box, dude. Like, that leads to literally infinite questions about every religion, every thought process, every conspiracy, everything.
Every religion, every like physical concept.
Yeah.
Physical laws. Can ghosts go through walls? Are they bound by our physical laws? Do they have gravity?
Oh yeah.
Can they just go to Mars? Like I don't understand.
Are they actually are they floating and, like, wearing a bed sheet, or are they just walking around?
And if ghosts have to abide by our same physical laws, or even some of them, like gravity, then there has to be some sort of higher power mechanism to abide those, right?
Or you could even argue, if they are bound by something like gravity, then that means there's something physical that's getting affected that we can't perceive. So maybe it's not the soul. Maybe it's like some sort of biological essence that, because almost like a computer, like, right? Like AI is technically, there's argument around this, but AIs technically aren't like conscious in the way that we view it, like for us, but they can still make decisions and have like theoretically feelings and things like that. So it could honestly be, but again, they're made up of chips, wires, and electricity, all physical things that we can manipulate. So if a ghost is affected by something like gravity, it could also be some sort of physical essence, right? That maybe we just don't know how to manipulate or interact with.
Yeah, the idea of sentience and how that plays into ghosts' consciousness, morality. I don't know.
Are they just a collection of some sort of physical essence we can't see, or are they a soul with feelings that is consciously making choices?
Yeah. Weird.
That is crazy, dude. I didn't even think about that. So that leads me into my next point. So we're talking about ghosts and things like that. And I think we've kind of delving already a little bit into this, but when you say ghosts, what exactly are you talking about? Are you talking about a ghost, and in that sense, you're like, that's the umbrella term? Or is there a difference between ghosts, spirits, and if you believe in demons, do demons masquerade as ghosts, or are demons ghosts? Like there's only demons and they portray themselves as ghosts. Like how would you think about that?
Okay, so we're already kind of touching on this a little bit. I think, let's say the idea of ghosts are real.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say they're confirmed. What that opens up is, like you said, Pandora's box of all sorts of possibilities. Is there a spirit? If ghosts are in fact real, then there must be some sort of sentient essence or spirit, as we could call it, that gives us that drive of becoming a ghost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't be essentially zombies because they still function and do things. So there would be some sort of spirit, some essence. And same thing with demons then, it gets you to wonder, if ghosts are real, then are there other outlets and avenues of life after death?
Other than ghosts?
Okay. Is there a heaven? Is there a hell? If there is, if not exactly heaven and hell, if there is similar ideas.
Or different realms, per se.
Then maybe demons would be real. Maybe demons are just ghosts that, absorb somebody's possession. But if that were to be the case, then why is that happen so minimally?
Yeah. Huh.
Like, why don't we see thousands of cases of people being possessed? And then you'll see like one or two here and there. Yeah. And it kind of gets brushed off as like, this guy's kind of like crazy or something,
psychotic,
right? Yeah. So I'm wondering, like, that's where I keep wondering, like, if ghosts are truly real, how do they think? Why do they think the way they think? Is there someone that's like, all right, welcome to Ghost World. These are your rules. These are what you can do, what you can't do. You can't possess someone unless we say so. Is there like a council of ghosts? Like, I don't know. And if there's a council of ghosts, who started that, right?
The original ghost, I'd have to say. Yeah. Adam and Eve out there, like, yo.
Adam and Eve, the ghosts.
This is what it is. What it do.
Yeah.
Okay, but like,
what it be?
So you're saying, like, assuming ghosts to be real, there's not really a solid answer, because ghosts could be anything, and we could define an angry ghost as a demon, and we could maybe think of that as a different concept, but it could also just be a ghost.
Mm-hmm. Or what if realms bled into our reality either by accident or on purpose? So like, let's say there is a thing called a heaven or something similar of a realm, and ghosts can just like, I just want to go back to Earth and see what people are up to. So they just kind of come and chill and like see things and then go back to wherever they're from. Or is there like if it's not on purpose, is there an accidental bleed through in realms?
Yeah.
Is there like a ghost realm that accidentally like mashed with our reality, and then like a ghost just like slips through and is just here, and then there's like these like ghost hunters that like come and take them back? It's like Danny Phantom or something,
Or that R.I.P.D. the rest in peace police, like Ryan Reynolds did, I think. Yeah. Wait. Okay. So. Okay, but that leads. What about spirits? So like you hear like, and I think it's also like super cool to kind of like think of like ancient, like even like Asian cultures where they're like there's a water spirit, there's a fire spirit, there's like spirit of the trees or the forest, things like that. Do you think assuming ghosts are real, that those, because if you assume ghosts are real, you could probably put a lot of weight onto somebody saying like spirits are real. So would you say that those spirits are maybe ghosts that just hang out, or would you argue that if ghosts are real, chances are that kind of like polytheistic, there's spirits everywhere thing is real?
Yeah. Here's a fun twist. Let me add to this, right? I think it's very Western of us to assume that ghosts are ghosts as we see it as people.
Yeah, that's fair.
In India, when someone passes away, oftentimes they believe the spirit moves on through a crow, which is interesting because crows here. Yeah.
Okay.
So here in the United States, crows are seen as bad, right? They're seen as
gross.
Yeah. They have negative connotation. When you see things like, Huckleberry Finn or something, right? There's a black crow.
Yeah.
It's a negative connotation. It really
ominous.
is. And yeah, it's ominous. But at least in India, I know for a fact, is there is seen as your spirit coming back to, kind of reassure you in a way.
Okay.
So, for example, right, my grandpa passed away a few years ago,
and
my dad's dad. And, my dad was upset. Whether it's, I'm not going to, name if it's coincidence, if it's real, it's not. But what I'm saying is there was a crow that showed up the very next day. Not just one, a few. And crows, like, it's like very random, right? Like you don't expect crows to just sit in your backyard.
Yeah, you don't just walk out and see a crow.
Yeah, just like, not just one, like a few crows are just sitting there. And like my parents got very happy by that. And they're like, your grandpa's here, to watch over us or like, bless us or whatever.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like incredibly interesting because maybe spirits don't just possess human form.
Yeah.
Right?
Huh. That is very interesting.
And then I wonder, do spirits only apply to humans? And it would be kind of ignorant of us to assume that, oh, we're the top beings, therefore we're the only ones that have these things.
Yeah.
So what is to say that, when your dog passes away, that you don't have a spirit dog?
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, then like, how big is this spirit world?
Yeah, and is it regulated in any way?
Yeah, or is there a time limit for them too?
Yeah, is it like your spirit goes on and then your spirit can also go on somewhere else? Is there something past that? No, that's not. Whoa, dude, that's like my brain's kind of moving.
Yeah, the thing with this topic is there's so many more questions than answers.
Yeah,
and that's all we can provide.
We might have to do a part 2. This is
get sponsored by Ghostbusters or something.
Dude, have you seen that new Ghostbusters, like the kids version?
No, is it like a Spy Kids?
No, they're
thing?
making like a kids version of the Ghostbuster movie. And I'm sorry, but I'm 100% against that because stop making Ghostbusters movies. The originals are so good, and then you want to make all of these offshoots for whatever reason, and now everyone's just tired of it. I promise you, everybody is tired of it. Stop it. I don't want to sit there and watch a bunch of kids cry about ghosts, okay? Like,
well,
shoot.
You saw Spy Kids when you were young, right?
Yeah, dude. Those things
Spy
are iconic.
Kids was so good. It was
So
iconic.
good.
But did you know they recently, I think about a year ago, maybe less, released a new Spy Kids movie?
No. What?
Same I believe it's the same director, and I watched it.
Oh.
It was incredibly corny.
Yeah.
It was a bunch of superheroes that like. So the movie started with like superheroes, and they were like, this isn't much of a spoiler because like you could get this in the first 5 minutes, but the bunch of superheroes, like adults, and they're like, oh yeah, we're like the best, like no one can defeat us, and then some like alien race thing comes into Earth.
And then the kids have to, dude. I think I saw that. Wait,
yeah.
What's it, like,
but the funny thing was, the adults died in like seconds. They were like kidnapped and shit, and it's like they like didn't stand a chance. And the kids are like, it's up to us now. Like we're gonna save the world. And then it was like super corny of a movie, and I'm just like, I don't know, man. Sometimes you just got to keep nostalgic events nostalgic.
Yeah, because that's what makes them still iconic.
Yeah,
it's called it's called We Can Be Heroes.
Yeah,
I saw that,
Netflix.
dude.
Yeah.
What the heck?
But yeah, I mean, I guess that was a little bit of an offshore tangent.
Yeah, but I think it's important.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I don't know. You see like things like Paranormal Activity and things.
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
People are just obsessed with this idea because I mean, they've been obsessed with this as long as they've been obsessed with death, which is like the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Of theory of mind humans. Humans that have developed a theory of mind. I feel like ever since then we've been obsessed with afterlife? What is life? What is the life meaning?
Yeah.
You know, what is life's meaning? What happens after you die? What is death? What happens spiritually to the people that passed? And ghosts are just one version. But then that leads me to my question for you. Are ghosts evil?
I think, I don't know, I would bring it back to your concept, your Western versus Eastern viewpoint. Because I feel like in a Western viewpoint, which is of course like where my mindset's coming from, both like currently and ancestrally, like, you know, I'm Irish, pure blood, whatever, right? So it's, you know, I think my ancestors way back were technically like druids. And so it's like, I don't know, there's that blood in me, Shiva. There's that blood. And
I think it's called alcoholism.
No potatoes and alcohol. Let's go. No, but I think it is that Western and Eastern kind of viewpoint. Because as a Westerner, I think you would view, at least I would view, ghosts as almost entirely negative. I would view them as evil things. And it might even just be Hollywood that's mutated our thoughts on this. But like, ghosts are something we don't understand, and we're always scared of things we don't understand because they could be good, bad, whatever. They could be more powerful than us, less powerful than us. You know, there's a lot of these dynamics that we don't know about. That as a Westerner, you view it as negative. You know, if your house is haunted, you move. If you're haunted, sorry, you die. You know, like, you know, it's just like, it's things like that where we view ghosts as evil. And so I'd say in my mindset, you know, I'd like to think that they're not, but I think I would go straight to being, they're not good. Because, again, it might just be how Hollywood portrayed it, but, like, you know, they have unfinished business, or they're mad, and that's why they can't move on. Or they're sad, and it comes out as, like, anger or, like, destruction. But then I think maybe in an Eastern concept, it's the opposite. I don't know.
I like the point you made about how we're afraid of what we don't understand. Because we like to be in control, we like to be in power. So when something seems out of our control and out of power, and that doesn't even have to apply to an essence of, you know, supernatural ghosts or spirits or whatever. It happens even when you see country bureaucracy. Bureaucracy.
Bureaucracy. There's an R in there.
Bureaucracy.
Yeah, bureaucracy.
Yeah. So, I mean, you see it all the time, right? Like one country becomes more powerful, especially things with like the Cold War, right? You see one country trying to up the other, and you get a fear when you're not in power and control. So I think there's definitely a sense of fear, at least in the Western perspective of ghosts and spirits. But often you see things in like Mexico where it's indulged upon.
Yeah,
people have huge festivals. Yeah, celebrated. You bring food to your ancestors. You know, in India, you can take new forms, you know?
Yeah.
And what's most interesting is that we've all adopted this idea, this collective consciousness that we're like, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But we don't know. We don't know anything.
Yeah, and it's just, I think it's fun to sit here and kind of guess at it, because I don't know, at least it almost gives hope in that there is something, right? Because if you're like an atheist and you just believe you just die and then you cease to exist, and everybody keeps, you know, your atoms go back into the cycle and whatever, it's just, I don't know. I think it's fun to sit here and just like think about, you know, if there's anything past that, what is it? You know, is it a spirit versus a ghost versus, you know, the negative connotations of like a demon, or is it an angel? Is it, you know, is it anything? And I think that's something that's very intriguing and almost like mind opening in other areas of your life to sit here and have that conversation. Yeah.
I was just thinking if like while we were talking, this turns into a guest episode, because I'm like, yo, Sean, what's behind you? And there's like some ghost.
Bro, no.
And he's like, let me explain.
Yeah, we are
and he just
not
gets on the
anything you just said. You're all like, wrong. Yeah. So wrong.
Yeah. You guys are so wrong.
We're actually what you'd call aliens. Dun-dun-dun.
Well, here's the thing, right? What if we are just completely wrong?
Yeah.
What if they are aliens?
Mm-hmm.
What if they're not even ghosts, man? What if, you know, okay, you know, we talked about, you know, off mic, we talked about things like different civilizations.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. What was it called? The levels, right? What was that?
Different
called?
levels, like the Fermi's paradox and things
like
that.
The Fermi's paradox. Yeah. And, you know, level 3 would be, you know, intergalactic travel.
Yeah.
So imagine a civilization that can harness something like that. They most definitely can harness things like I mean, at least I assume, things far above our capacity, like
a non-visible
maybe invisibility.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
invisibility. And if they can control invisibility, I mean, that sounds like a great way for aliens to observe our world without having to interact with us.
Absolutely.
And cause chaos.
Well, because all invisibility really is refracting light away from you, right?
Yeah.
We only can view things through, I mean, I guess you could view things through other, like, infrared and different, like, visible spectrum stuff. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like, if you're just viewing something with your eyes, all you have to do is refract the light that we see, like Roy G. Biv colors, and you would be invisible. We just could not perceive you.
That makes a lot of sense, honestly, why we might sometimes see a little glimpse of ghosts. Could just be aliens' light refraction just, like, offsetting itself for a second, and we're like, yo, what was that? And then it's gone. Dude. And maybe, like, if maybe aliens, on the off chance that they're, like, light refraction or invisibility doesn't work, that they take human form.
Dude, there's some, like, shapeshifter stuff.
Yeah, shapeshifters. But then that doesn't explain things like, oh, like, I just saw someone that I knew that was passed away, like a familiar face.
Damn, now we're back to square one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Huh.
But that's kind of interesting, though. Like, everything we know about ghosts just aren't real. It's like completely different. It's like, it's something like, have you heard about things like, we have 3 dimension in our world, but there's things like 4, 5, 6 dimensions.
Yeah, we just can't wrap our mind around it.
Yeah, or like the universe could be far multi-dimensional than 3 dimensions.
Yeah.
Because we have an XYZ plane, but then it might be like incorporated into another plane and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
What if it's just far above our capacity to understand what ghosts are?
Dude, that's crazy. That's what I give hope for, like, human civilization to keep moving on.
Yeah.
Because of all of these questions. Even if the answer is no, like there's no other dimensions, we just don't have those answers. And getting those answers, I think, is, super, like, worth getting to that point to be able to have the technology to do that.
Here's a cool one. So imagine you have 2 parallel universes and something happens and they collide. What if the essence of one person in one timeline is alive and the other one isn't, and it just mashes into something where they're just like kind of like a ghost?
My brain's gonna fall out of my head. Dang. Dude, all this stuff could be real.
That was deep.
Yeah, that was deep.
Yeah. Okay, but what if ghosts just aren't evil? Like, what if they're like Casper? They're like, hey guys,
just vibe, and we're like,
yeah, they're like,
what? Like,
yeah.
John, hey.
They're like at the bar getting drunk or something.
Yeah, ghost wine,
ghost bar. Yeah,
ghost
wine,
ghost bar. That could be
peppers.
A movie, bro. Like, but I feel like it'd be like a Nicolas Cage movie, Ghost Bar.
Yeah, I mean, this series is called Just Questions, but I feel like this episode was just questions, to be quite honest.
It literally was just, you are correct. That is an astute observation, Shiva. Astute.
Thank you. I feel like there's nothing else we can say other than theories and questions.
Yeah.
But that's what gets you to think, right?
And
about
that's
this
special.
topic.
That's important.
Thinking is very special.
I'm special.
Yeah, I know, Sean.
Oh, thanks, man.
Well, guys, thanks for, tuning into this episode. It's a little different than our other ones. It's a lot more, abstract and whatnot. If you guys like what we do, if you like this episode, different styles, if you want to hear different ideas, you guys should just email us or hit us up on Anchor. We would love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, let us know. Always, thanks for tuning in, guys. We really appreciate it.
Oh, and leave us an Apple review. We'd love that.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you. Peace.
Peace out.